Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. Thought I'd talk a little bit more about these lending facilities coming out of the Federal Reserve. Now, we talked yesterday and the day before in my previous two videos about the term asset loan facility and then the Main Street lending facility. And now these are facilities that are using a special purpose vehicle to lend, well, I guess lend money to the special purpose vehicle, who are in turn buying the asset-backed securities of like credit cards, auto loans, student loans, stuff like that, and also lending money to a special purpose vehicle, who are in turn buying the loans of like small businesses, banks that have lent money to small businesses. These special purpose vehicles are buying like 95% of those loans, for the eligible ones anyway. But those two facilities are using a special purpose vehicle. Today, I want to talk about the primary credit facility and the money market mutual fund liquidity facility, because these are loans that are going directly to banks. They're not using like a special purpose vehicle, not from what I was getting from it anyway, but they're lending this money directly to these banks. And now the primary credit facility, these are going to the primary dealers, and the primary dealers are like the big banks like JP Morgan, HSBC, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citigroup, all the big banks out there. And these guys are the primary dealers when it comes to buying treasuries. So when the treasury auctions come up, these are the guys who are at the front line. These are the guys who are doing the purchasing of those treasuries directly from the treasury during those treasury auctions. They're the primary dealers, and that's pretty much their duty. Well, back in March, they saw a issue come up where they were like, we got strains in our market here. A lot of people are pulling liquidity out. They're trying to get their hands on cash, and we're not really doing so well here when it comes to, come to being a primary dealer, and we need access to cash a little easier than this. So the Federal Reserve has opened up a facility for the primary dealers to get credit. So that's where the primary credit facility is coming from. And I just want to simplify it as best I can, because this stuff gets really complicated really fast. And ultimately what they are using is treasuries and government-sponsored enterprise debt, commercial paper. These are the assets that they're using as collateral to get the loan from the Federal Reserve. But these are like the big banks. These are the big banks who have, have access to the credit, to the primary credit facility. So I'm going to leave it at that for the primary credit facility. Like I said, I kind of oversimplified that because it gets so complicated so fast. The other one is the money market mutual fund liquidity facility. Now, a money market fund is different from like a money market account. They're similar in description from what they are, but they are a bit different. Like a money market account is generally like the money market account that, like a bank account, like a savings account that you would have down there at your local bank. Most of them are FDIC insured, and they are pretty much like an enhanced savings account. So, they do have like limitations, like on how many times you can draw money out of them, or maybe like, how much you can draw out at a particular time. There is some limitations to a money market account, but they generally have a higher interest rate in it. So if you're looking to park some money in a really safe spot to, and try and get a little bit better of a return, you can do it at a money market account. A money market mutual fund is a little bit different. These are generally for like the bigger investors, because a lot of them have like a minimum requirement, like you have to put in like, say, $1 million in order to get into the money market mutual fund. They invest in very similar stuff, treasuries, commercial paper, stuff like that, things that are generally like low risk investments. And it's a good place for like these investors to park their money, because like, if they want to get a return on some of their cash, they have some cash that they don't really need at the time. They can use a money market mutual fund and have kind of easy access to it. It's fairly liquid market that they're able to get their money back out of, but yet they can still get a return on it. So a lot of these investors who are not looking to use their cash at the time, but they need a place to kind of put it for the time being, they can use a money market mutual fund. And these money market mutual funds, they invest in all kinds of stuff. And some of them invest in, say, like, municipal bonds and stuff like that from like cities or counties and stuff like that. So back in March again, there was a huge drawdown in these money market funds. And this has started creating like, a hiccup throughout the rest of the economy. So the Federal Reserve stepped in with the backstop for these money market mutual funds. And they were basically loaning money to the institutions who had these money market mutual funds so that they would not have, like, say, a run on it. Like if all of a sudden, somebody says, hey, man, you can't have your money. Well, then people who have money market funds are going to be like, well, I'm getting my money out before I can't get my money. And so they would cause like this run on the money market mutual funds. So that's when the Federal Reserve has stepped in with the money market mutual fund liquidity facility to make sure that they have the funds that they need in order to deal with like people who are, redeeming their money. And that, again, like I kind of oversimplified it to try and make a little bit more sense out of it, but both of these things are very complicated when you start breaking them down and try and getting into the nitty gritty of it. But I'll leave links down in the description if you want to check out the frequently asked questions of it. The frequently asked questions of the primary credit facility is really pretty simple. There's not a whole lot going on there. And that's pretty much it, is just these big banks who have like easier access to funds. And then the money market mutual fund is like loans so that I guess it's probably more to give confidence to investors that if they go to pull their money out of the money market fund, that the money will be there and that they'll be able to get the loan from the Federal Reserve using whatever assets it is that they have inside that fund as collateral to get the loan. All right. I hope I explained that okay. Uneducated economist, you guys let me know.